This is Straight Talk with the clever Greg Fann, the preacher man, and his sidekick Shanan Jones. Frank discussions of issues affecting the ATL, Fulton County, the state of Georgia, the nation, and around the world. And now, here they are, live and in living color, the team of Jones and Fann, the preacher man.
Well, welcome again to another edition of Straight Talk with yours truly, Greg Fann, the preacher man, and the young man to my left and your right, or maybe your right and your left. I don't know. I don't know where he may be. I don't know. But today he asked me to come out of my Larry King attire because he wanted me to look like him today. So I am dressed like Shanan E. Jones. Oh, Shanan, we got the Bishop Reginald T. Jackson. He made a great comment about my suspenders and how good I look like Larry King. So I'm only doing this for you. I'm only doing this for you today.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking at what you got on now, and I think I liked you better in your suspenders. Go ahead.
But I like my Larry King outfit better. I do. I really do. I do. I really like that Larry King outfit so much better. I mean, I feel so dressed up.
One day you're gonna put on your jock
dressed
and JR.
up, Shannon.
One day you're gonna put on your jock and JR and take them to Dallas.
Oh yes, sir. You know that. You know I got to have my JR hat now. You know that.
Throw your cowboy hat on.
And my cowboy hats and my cowboy boots. Oh man, I should have did that today. Lord have mercy, I should have wore that today. Well, it's always next week. It's always next week. Hey, listen, great program last week, man. A lot of comments. You know, Pastor Smith watches it every week. DeWitt Smith, he watches every week. He always make us great comments about the program and things that we're doing, and you know how we're keeping people informed about the issues. You know, and I just want to give a shout out to him again and to Bishop Reginald T. Jackson and all of our regular viewers, We have quite a few people that watch us on a regular basis.
We need to get Pastor T. DeWitt Smith to come on, Dr. Smith to come on to talk to us about the African American Clergy Network with he and Barbara Skinner and Dr. Otis Moss Jr. We need to get them on, get him on to talk to us about the great work that they're doing in terms of galvanizing and organizing pastors. In fact, they just put out a statement on the Israeli-Hamas war. And so it'd be good to hear from Dr. Smith. Love that institutional wisdom that is within him.
But let's keep Pastor Smith in prayer because he lost his wife and he is mending himself. So let's keep him and his family entirely in prayer. But he's still in the struggle. He's still preaching strong. Matter of fact, I'll be preaching for him for the 5th Sunday in this month for him and his church family, Trinity. So let's keep him in prayer. Well, you know what we're going to do, Shannon? We're going to start right here, right now, and we're going to hear from Miss C. How about that? Let's hear what Miss C got to say. Miss C, Shannon, want to hear what you got to say.
Hi, Miss C here with your 3-minute news blast or more. Hey, Pastor Greg. Hey, Pastor Shanan. Hope you all are doing well. Good to see you again. Listen, I want y'all to keep up the good work. Y'all are doing a wonderful job with Straight Talk News. And even though I may joke with you and tell you, you know, you may be inept or something like that, but I don't mean it. You all actually are good. So anyway, let me give you my 3-minute news blast, okay? It's fall revival at Faith Memorial Church. It's going to happen October the 29th, November the 5th, and November 12th. Guest speakers respectively include Elder Alan Black, Elder Carlos Highsmith, and Elder Stuart Ward. Revival begins at 9 a.m. at Faith Memorial Church, 1676 Old Rex Morrow Road in Morrow, Georgia, where our good friend and former co-worker, Bishop Ray Neal, is pastor. The second annual Dementia Caregivers Day will be observed November 2nd from 10 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. at the Fairburn Youth Center, 149 Southwest Broad Street in Fairburn, Georgia. Join them for a day of dementia and caregiver education, virtual dementia tour, caregiver resources, memory screenings, and self-care activities. To register or get more information, call 678-723-8188, or you can send an email to Janelle Gore at emory.edu. Daughters of Esther Fellowship International presents its 28th annual conference entitled Christ in You, the Hope of Glory, November 9th through the 11th, Thursday and Friday night at 6:30 p.m., and Saturday morning, 9 a.m. till noon. There will also be morning sessions on Thursday and Friday from 9 to noon, and they will have sessions that are just for men only and just for women only. The Hope of Glory Conference will take place at Rhema Christian Center, 7850 Plank Road in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. To register, log on to www.gloriaholdenscott.com. Guest speakers include Pastor Margaret Johns of Atlanta, Evangelist Calandra Bryant of Decatur, and Prophetess Selena Drumgold of Baton Rouge. Okay, listen, I'd like for you to do 4 little things for me. I'd like for you to, what? Subscribe. Number 2, I'd like for you to like us. Please like us. And number 3, leave a comment. Let us know how we're doing, okay? And number 4, share us. Don't keep Straight Talk News to yourself. Let everybody know about Straight Talk News with Greg Fann and Pastor Shanan. And I think you'll be glad you did, because you'll be letting them in. You'll be letting them know a big secret, which is Straight Talk News with Greg Fann and Pastor Shanan. And listen, and don't forget to tell them about Miss C. I'm bringing you news you can use. Okay? All right, now listen. In the meantime and in between time, may the Lord God bless you real good.
I Miss C too much. She too much. See, that's who you've been defending. No, that's who you've been defending. No,
you need to apologize to her.
No. That's who you've been defending. No, you have been defending her, and then she called you an elf like that.
You need to apologize to her. You need to let her know when you call her an elf, you don't really mean it either.
I never called her an elf. I never did that. But she called you an elf. She said, but she did apologize for having called you that. Hey, I saw you off stream. When she said it, I saw you just bust out and start laughing. You just cracked up. Miss C will crack you up. Then I bet you AW, when AW saw that, AW didn't do nothing but bust out and start laughing. Because AW is a regular watcher of Straight Talk. He watches Straight Talk. Sometimes they just see Miss C and what Miss C gonna say. Y'all send comments to Miss C, because Miss C is off the chain. She is off the chain.
I don't take it personal when you call me an app.
Well, let's see. She too much. She is too much. But you know, Miss C is good. She's one of the sweetest, nicest person you ever meet in your life. And she does a great job with Straight Talk News. And if you have news and information, please send it to Miss C at Straight Talk News at 1362 with gmail.com. That's 1362 at gmail.com. She's always been hilarious. She's just her, Miss C. Okay, and don't forget to do like Miss C. Subscribe, like us, and make comments and share. All right. Once you do that, all right, we're gonna get ready now, because you know these Republicans. And I'm going to say even the Democrats, to some degree, they got this country messed up with this speakership thing. It's just ludicrous crazy. We have one of the gentlemen from a congressperson from Mr. Lawler from New York, who is talking about what he feels in terms of this. What's going on? He still supports McCartney. He thought they never should have removed McCartney as speaker, right? So now they got this mass chaos and confusion when the country is in an uproar, and we don't have a speaker. I said I mean the United States of America don't have a speaker of the House, which is the third most important position in the ranking of government. You got president, you got vice president, then you got the speaker of the House, right? So now we have all the things that's going on in the country, the chaos and confusion, and then we got a divided House, a divided party. I mean, and everything is just kind of Donald Trump centered. Donald Trump has created this whole mass division in this country. And Shannon, before I bring them on, I want to just share this and say this, and I'm going you way in. We're going to have the commentator from CBS interviewing him. But Donald Trump said the other day when the judge put the gag order on him, and he's still being defiant. He's still just pushing the limit. And just like he did with January 6th, push the limit. He's a push the limit kind of guy. He says, I don't care if they lock me up. Put me in jail, but you're not going to stop me from saying what I want to say. You're not going to stop me. But then you got kids today who looking at that example is saying, you're not going to stop me from saying what I want to say. You're not going to stop me from doing what I want to do. Because look at the leader and what the leader is saying. What the leader he has no boundaries. He has no boundaries. He's not bound by anything. But God got him in time. God got him, and he's going to pay for everything that he's doing and everything he's done. But Shannon, I'm going to let you speak, and then we'll bring on the commentator from CBS News talking to Mr. Lawler and giving his opinion about what should happen with this speakership.
No, let's go straight to that.
You want to go straight to that? All right. You ain't got nothing you want to say? I can't believe it. You done did a summer night.
To speak with Congressman Mike Lawler of New York. He is someone who on both of these rounds has voted for former House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. He told me that was his plan even prior to these votes several days ago. He said that he believes that McCarthy really was the best qualified for the job. But now he says it's time for Republicans to regroup and move forward and perhaps look at this option of extending extra powers to the interim speaker, Patrick McHenry. Take a listen to our conversation. I mean, at the end of the day, I know you continue to vote for Kevin McCarthy. Do you want him back in the job? Or
yeah, absolutely. I didn't vote for him for no reason. I mean, I've said from the very beginning, he never should have been removed. He's the right person to lead the conference and the House, and I'd like to see him back as Speaker. There is not consensus, clearly, on who the next Speaker should be, and so in the immediate, we need to get back to work. We need to allow Patrick McHenry to do the job as Speaker pro tem with the authority to govern. And so I think it's imperative that we immediately pass a resolution that gives him that authority. And continue to work through this process as a conference. I don't think having more floor votes really is going to solve the problem here.
I mean, is there a proposal that you back over the other? I know you have Congressman David Joyce, who may file a motion today. I know Congressman Kelly also has another motion. I mean, is there...
I would support Dave Joyce's resolution. I think it gives us the time and the ability to do what we need to do in terms of moving legislation on the floor, dealing with the challenges of the American people, and giving us the time to come together as a conference and nominate a speaker and elect them on the floor, which is obviously critically important.
In terms of putting somebody in that position on a more permanent basis, I mean, what do you say to those who feel that's just kicking the can down the road?
We can't waste any more time. And this is why Kevin McCarthy never should have been removed in the first place. To my 8 Republican colleagues and the 208 Democrats who teamed up to do this, they didn't have a plan for what was next. And that's the problem here. You don't do irrational things like this. And we're now living in a situation of paralysis and chaos that didn't have to be.
Well, Shannon, it didn't have to be. That's what he's saying. It didn't have to be. But you know that there is some rational people that have some rational sense in terms of this whole thing. Why is it that the Speaker Pro Tem doesn't have the power to be able to carry out the duties of the Speaker in the absence of the Speaker?
I thought that was the whole purpose of having a Speaker Pro Tem, or Pro Tem in any case, Mayor Pro Tem, or in any other deliberative body.
They always fulfill the duties of the presiding officer. If they're the pro tem, they're next in line to be able to carry out those duties. So
absolutely.
So
absolutely.
I'm just trying to figure out why is it like that now that they got to vote on now whether or not he can have those duties until a speaker is elected. I mean, what he was saying was pretty common sense to me. And
is this parliamentary in terms of this Congress, or has this been the norm for every Congress every 2 years?
In reference to when they make the Speaker of the House?
Yeah, no.
Okay.
The limiting of the power of the Speaker Pro Tem, is that just this Congress, or is that the norm? Because we haven't been in this space before, so I guess we're seeing some things now that we haven't seen before, because we're in a very historical space right now.
And you're absolutely right. I don't know if it's the norm or not. We don't know if it's the norm, because we find out a lot of things like peeling back the onion, right? We peeling back the onion, we find out things that we didn't know, that we assumed that was like common sense practices. That, you know, look at McCartney, the power that he gave up because of the House rules. They could change their rules at any time as to how they're going to govern, self-govern.
Exactly.
Right. So,
exactly.
I think that's a self-governing rule they set as to the power of the Speaker Pro Tem. But I would that should be something constitutional, that the Speaker Pro Tem should have the power to carry out the duties of, just like the Vice President has the responsibility to carry out the duties of what? The President. You remember some years ago, I can't remember who it was, because it escapes me, when the President was not able to serve as the President, then it became that argument whether or not would the Speaker be standing in for the duties of the President, or would the Vice President be standing in for the duties of the President. It became a big decision as to who would be leading the country in the absence of the President.
I certainly remember when Reagan was shot. You'll remember Alexander Haig, who was Secretary of Defense, I believe he was then, and he said, was he Secretary of Defense? He said, as far as it is at the White House, I'm in charge. And the Vice President of the United States was alive, and he was on Air Force 2, flying back to Washington. He had been dispatched for some other business. But I don't know how Haig got it, because Tip O'Neill would have been the Speaker of the House then, and it would have been if the Vice President were to have been incapacitated, but he was not. He was on Air Force 2 with his military aide, with the political football, and they had put the codes to the Vice President, the nuclear codes to the Vice President, and you had Haig talking this. So, you know, I don't know if that's the case you meant. Maybe you meant something more modern.
No, I think that my memory. You know, that's what I was saying. I remember something like that, and I was just trying to see when did the, you know, if something should happen to the Speaker, and we are in that kind of a situation again, because just like this is unfolding and never happened before, right? So who would be, if they're in a position now, let's say the President was incapacitated, the Vice President, as you just said, was not available to be able to take command at that time. Who then, if you don't have a Speaker a permanent speaker, then who would then run the country? Who would run the country? See, I'm just saying is because anything could happen and can happen, right? So this doesn't really make any sense in terms of, just like what he's saying, the common sense thing is to allow until they can come to some decision on both sides, both Democrat and Republican, as to who they could agree to be the speaker. Then they should allow the speaker pro tem to act and carry out the duties of the speaker, because we're in a chaotic time. We got a lot of things. Government going to shut down in a few more weeks, right? If they don't. And then that military people won't get paid. And then certain people won't get paid. And as I've said before, we have, from the South Foot Ministerial Alliance, we have taken care of people during that time, during the era of Donald Trump, when he shut down government, would not approve funding for government and shut it down, got them to shut it down, and they shut it down. So we had to come in as ministers, as we believe in looking out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out, and provide finances and other resources for needed families during that period of time. So, but what happens here is that common sense, you got a speaker pro tem. Why can't you just let him serve until, in the absence of the speaker, until you can come to some decision as to who the speaker ought to be by majority?
It's a big mess. I don't know who would, with the current rules, the way they are, I don't know who would want to be speaker. I think Scalise showed himself to be a genius in the sense that when he saw that thing go left the first time, he said, look, I got a reputation here. I was a leader in the House when we were preparing for our congressional baseball game, and I was shot with several others, and certainly got national exposure around that. And he was ill, and they were tracking to see where he was. So I don't know what trajectory he would be on, but I think he jumped off this thing, Bishop, and said, look, if I don't want to be a speaker. I don't want to keep losing, basically, these rounds of being elected speaker. And then if I become speaker, some snotty-nosed little congressman from wherever could just say, challenge me, and 8 folks can put me out of my seat. So it's crazy. I don't think they should have gotten rid of McCarthy, and I don't see a way forward for them unless they have a very serious caucus and straighten this out, because they are really wasting. They're shooting themselves in the foot, and they're wasting their leadership.
Well, this Lawler has said it. He said that. I mean, he's a McCartney supporter. He said they never should have done that. No, it never should have happened that you got rid of McCartney, right? You need a leader. He was providing leadership, but he gave up too much power in terms of concession to get the seat. And then you got Jim Jordan now, who, boy, God, who is a Donald Trump clone. I mean, he'll be in the seat, but it'll be Donald Trump talking. So you got people who understand that, no, we don't want to give up this democracy. We want to keep it as a democracy. We're not looking for a dictator. But this is what it's all boiling down to, and like our program last week when we talked about the 2025 project in terms of a dictatorship. When you got a certain faction of the Republican Party said, let's create a dictatorship. Let's go. Big business is going to fund our campaign. They're going to fund us to be in positions of these influential positions, these powerful positions. So we're going to go along. See, a lot of this, Shanan, in my mind, a lot of this is not just Donald Trump. It's the donors. It's the people who put money in the coffers of the people that's running. So they forget the constituents. Forget about what the constituents want, right? Because it doesn't matter what the constituents want. It's what big business want. And we're going to put monies in your coffer so that you can win this election and continue control through you as to how the government is going to run. And who's going to get this and who's going to get that and who's not going to get this and who's not going to get that. So that's really what we're seeing played out here. And when you got some of them say, well, I'm not going to vote for that. And then another part of that is, if you look at the ones who are voting not to really support that, they're in Democratic districts. So they like, wait a minute. I got to look at this again because I do want to come back. But these people voted for Biden in my congressional district, so they're Democrats. So now I want to weigh my option. Do I want to now change parties? Because they do flip like that, right? Do I want to now change party and become a Democrat and get on the Democrat side, or do I want to stay over here on the Republican side and create a dictatorship versus democracy? The morality has to be set in some place. You got to be your own conscience. That's what I think so much for those who said, hey, like Kissinger, who said, and even Liz Cheney, who said, I'm about this country. I'm not about trying to be what the party want in terms of this dictatorship and following this dictator or wannabe dictator, Donald Trump, right? And Jim Jordan dead in there. Whatever Trump want, he's gonna do it. Whatever Trump, he's proven he's gonna do it, right? So they got a mess. They got a mess. They got to have more than 20 people, 22 people now to stand up and say we don't want that. Some people will have to stand up and say we want a country. We want to keep our dictator. Is it the best thing going? Maybe not, but it's the best thing for us versus having a dictatorship.
I agree.
So where do we go from here? Because this stuff is spilling down to local politics, right? And we talk about stuff that's happening local. It's spilling down to local politics.
Well, I mean, the getting rid of, we talked about it last week, but getting rid of the speaker is the same thing as getting rid of the Secretary of State, or removing powers from him or her, or removing district attorney's powers and whatnot. So it's interesting how this stuff kind of trickles down, and it's all anti-democratic. And here's the deal. I'm not quite sure you can kill democracy in America without killing America. Because America is not a democracy. Let's be real. America is the democracy, the superpower in the world. Now, there are other democracies, but you travel all over the world, and I have, and you've traveled a great deal, and several others have. Folks don't feel about America the way America thinks people feel about us, because they think we boast in a bit of too much freedom, and in that freedom, they feel as though we kind of get into other folks' lanes, other folks' sovereignties in other countries, and begin to try to push American values on other national cultures. And so, it's interesting. So when you start to gut, democratic values, and when I say, of course, I don't mean a party. I mean, the values of a democracy, of a republic, a true republic. You begin to carve at that and hollow that out, you'll destroy this country. It won't become something else. America could never become a dictatorship. Now, there are people who want to do that, but it could never happen. And, I hosted when I was a student at the Interdenominational Theological Center. And I hosted, I didn't host. I was invited as a student, as a representative of the student body, to sit with General Honore, who was the general during Hurricane Katrina. They had all this stuff going on, and they brought in this black general, this Cajun general, who would say to everybody, you're stuck on stupid. Stop being stuck on stupid. Do this, do that. So they had him at the ITC. And I asked a question. I can't remember what the question was today, but I'll never forget the answer. And the answer was this. He said, "Sir, I am sworn." He looked me dead in my eye. He said, "I am sworn to defend this nation against all enemies, both foreign and domestic. And I will do that until the last blood flow in my body. There was something about this general saying that to me. Reminded me of many years ago in Harlem. Reverend Al Sharpton had brought Colin Powell to speak, and some brothers were heckling him, Colin Powell, saying he was an Uncle Tom, that he was weak, that he was all this stuff. And Bishop Fann, Reverend Sharpton stood up and said, "Now, brothers and sisters, y'all got to stop this now. He's our guest. The general is our guest today." And the general did a little little smile, and he said, "It's okay. I can take some hecklers." He said, "You don't command the most powerful military in the world, sending men and women to kill and to be killed, or you don't be a soldier who has killed and not be able to take a few guys that haven't done nothing saying something about you." And I never forgot that statement. I don't think guys like that and women like that, people who give it, would sit back and allow a dictator to take this over, even with all of what we see going on right now. It doesn't work. It's not working in this. You see, it's not working in the House. It doesn't work in America, and I don't think we have to really be concerned about that. The question is, what is the way forward? But I'm not quite sure America would ever not be a democracy and still exist.
Well, that's a great sermonette. Appreciate it. Great sermonette.
I'm just following your. I've been real quiet today. I'm just following your sermon.
No. That was great sermonette. Great sermonette. But I was just saying it. I would never. And this is what I'm gonna get some pushback on this. I've never said never. I never said never. It may not be, as you said, quite a dictatorship, but it can change the trajectory of how people live, how people are provided for certain funding, taxation without representation. It can do a whole lot of that. A whole lot of that. So we have to be very guarded and careful as to how we are going to be looking at the people we're voting for. Are they in it for self-serving reasons, for real? Are they in it for a race? Are they in it for a party? What are you in it for the people? Are you in it for God's people? Are you in it to look out for the least, the less, the lost, and the left out? Or are you in it to look out at it for the wealthy and yourself? So too many times we vote on people based on party. We vote on people based on race. We vote on people based on status. But they don't have the people at heart. The people at heart. That's what we have to do, is look at what people are doing prior to getting in office, and then after they're in office. Are they bowing to the needs or the whim of the majority versus standing up for what's right just to stay there? I don't want to ever be in a place just to go along and get along, just to stay there, just to say I got the status that I'm there, but I'm really not being effective in terms of helping what the people that I came there to help, right? And we know we can't help everybody, but we ought at least trying to help somebody other than the rich and the famous and the fabulous. Because guess what? The poor and the needy pay into this same system. They pay into this same system. And if it's quiet as it kept, they pay probably more than the rich and the wealthy. So, Shanan, we can talk about this all day long on Straight Talk. I know we're going to get some feedback. We're going to get some comments again this week. And we welcome those comments. And do like Cynthia said, subscribe, like us, share. And please do that. Won't you do that? And she said, please do that. We'd love to hear from you, We agree to disagree, but not to be disagreeable. And don't forget, join us at CBC each and every Monday at 11 o'clock with President Shanan E. Jones. Join us with the South Florida Ministry Alliance every Tuesday with yours truly, Greg Fann, the Preacher Man. And do join us each and every week right here on Straight Talk with yours truly and Shanan E. Jones. Big Papa, we ain't finna sign off yet till you say something, Big Papa. Throw that finger down. Put that finger down.
All right.
You're looking like a preacher. You're looking like a preacher now. You're looking like a preacher.
When we sign off, want to make sure. Don't know when this is going to air because we're taping. Because on our normal taping evening, we will be engaged in a justice revival at the First Iconian Baptist Church, where deacons, the clergy and deacons, metro area clergy and deacons, justice revival, where we're bringing together clergy and deacons from throughout this metropolitan area to stand with the family of Deacon Johnny Holman, who died in the hands of an Atlanta police officer on August the 10th. And more about that. And then we do want to tell everyone to join us on Saturday morning. Bishop Fann will be there. For those that are not there, he will be there. He will do selfies. He will sign autographs. He will kiss babies. Bishop Fann will be there on Saturday morning.
Wait a minute. I'm going to be there Saturday morning. I am not signing any autographs. I'm not signing.
400 Arbor Avenue at the King Historic District at the amphitheater. We will be marching from there. It is the Stevens March.
The Stevens March.
Stephen, in the Bible, the Stevens March, in honor and in memory of Deacon Johnny Holman, and there'll be clergy and deacons that are leading that march from the King Historic District to 55 Trinity Avenue to the Atlanta City Hall. And you can catch Bishop Fann there too. He'll be signing autographs and taking selfies and kissing babies. Please share, like us, share.
Let me just tell you this. Let me just share this with you. I will not be signing autographs. I am not that kind of person. I will shake hands. I will talk. I will chant. I will support the effort because it's a worthwhile effort, because it could be you. It could be me. It could be us. It's only by the grace of God. We're there to support the family. We're there to support Deacon Holman's family. We're there to support his pastor. We're there to support his church. We're there to support men and women of God and goodwill. That's why we're going to be there, men and women of God and goodwill. And I got more to say on that day, but you need to come on out, be with us in the march, join us in the march, and don't be square, you be there. Until next week, this ain't been nothing but what, Shanan? Straight Talk!
Want to be a guest on Straight Talk? Email Greg Fann at FANN922 at Comcast.net or call 404-308-0795. Join us again for another episode of Straight Talk with Shanan Jones and Greg Fann, the Preacher Man.